Welcome to another episode of the Jampack Report, today for March the 19th of 2021. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it's your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. So if you enjoy the show and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But yesterday we saw our first Square Enix Presents, and there was plenty of news coming out of the company's new Nintendo Direct style presentation, but thankfully there's a nice handy summary to help keep everyone in the loop. The inaugural Square Enix Presents was packed with awe-inspiring games, from the drama of Life is Strange: True Colors to the forbidding beauty of Forspoken. But as the stage clears, there is still time for one last encore. Here's a recap of everything that was shown. First off, Life is Strange: True Colors. Square Enix Presents featured the world premiere of Life is Strange: True Colors. This latest entry in the award-winning series is developed by Deck 9 Games, the accomplished team behind Life is Strange: Before the Storm, and focuses on a brand new protagonist, Alex Chen. Alex has the psychic power of empathy, a supernatural ability that allows her to experience, absorb, and manipulate the powers of others, and see them as colored auras. She has spent years suppressing this curse, but when her brother dies unexpectedly, Alex embraces her powers once and for all. As Alex, you'll explore the town of Haven Springs and use your volatile abilities to uncover the dark secrets hidden within. The game features full performance capture and an incredible soundtrack with new tracks by Mixmtoon, Mxmtoon, I think I said that correctly, and Novo Amor, licensed songs including Radiohead, Phoebe Bridgers, Gabriel Aplin, and much more. I'm trying to think if I said all of those names correctly. Like, out of everyone that I just mentioned, Radiohead is the one that I'm intimately familiar with. So, I apologize. But Life is Strange: True Colors releases on September the 10th and is available to pre-order now. Then you have the Life is Strange Remastered collection. As if True Colors was not exciting enough, there was even more Life is Strange news at Square Enix Presents. The Life is Strange Remastered Collection will be available in September as part of the Life is Strange True Colors Ultimate Edition, and it will also be available as a standalone later on this year. The collection features both Life is Strange and Life is Strange Before the Storm, each enhanced with improved visuals and animation. Forspoken also came out of left field and took a lot of the spotlight. Square Enix Presents featured a spectacular surprise with Forspoken, a brand new game from the talented team at Luminous Productions. Originally unveiled last year as Project Athia, today's show introduced the game's setting, teased gameplay, and put the spotlight on the main character, Frey. An ordinary woman, Frey is thrust into the fantastical and dangerous land of Athia, where she is forced to harness new magical abilities to survive. Forspoken is being developed for PS5 and PC and is set for release in 2022. Marvel's Avengers Next Gen update launched yesterday, but there's also more content on the way. Firstly, Marvel's Avengers Operation Hawkeye Future Imperfect is now available in-game, and it introduces an all-new playable hero to the game's roster, Clint Barton's Hawkeye. The Archer's quiver is packed full of tools that make him a force to be reckoned with, from grapple arrows to his iconic boomerang arrows. As players progress into the Wastelands, the new operation will also introduce a deadly villain, Maestro, and he is a threat unlike anything the Avengers have faced so far. The update features a new biome to explore and awesome new features, including the ability to customize harm rooms and replay campaign missions. As with all content updates, Future Imperfect is free to download and play for anyone who has purchased the game. That is not the only exciting Marvel's Avengers news, though. Today is also the launch of the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S editions. Featuring all of the content released for the game so far, the next-gen console versions feature improved visuals with 4K and 60 frames per second support, faster load times, and more. Anyone with a copy of the game can upgrade to the new version for free within the same console family, and save files can be easily transferred over. That's its own issue in and of itself. If you haven't been keeping up with the conversation on social media, Xbox just simply has the cloud-based saving features, and they just use smart delivery. So regardless of where you play, you get the automatically correct version of the game. But on PlayStation 5, there's this whole save transfer situation you have to do even if you are playing on the same console. It's a weird oversight on Sony's part developing and designing the architecture of the PlayStation 5, but it is what it is at this point. So if you want to learn more about that, you can follow @PlayAvengers, and they have a breakdown of how to transfer your save over from PS4 to PS5. Finally, the Marvel's Avengers segment of Square Enix Presents concluded with a tantalizing look at the next big event, featuring a very familiar location to fans. The War for Wakanda is coming. Black Panther is coming to Marvel's Avengers, and it does look very enticing. We'll break everything down a bit more in a moment. Outriders is coming soon. By now, many of you will have boots on the ground in the Outriders demo. You'll have blasted beasties, pulverized platoons, and taken your first steps to becoming an altered demigod of the battlefield. And trust us, you ain't seen nothing yet. Square Enix Presents gave you another look at the game ahead of its release on April 1st, with new footage that gives you the 101 on this exhilarating RPG shooter. This year marks the 25th anniversary of Tomb Raider, and Square Enix is celebrating throughout 2021. You may have already heard us announce a new Tomb Raider anime series in collaboration with Netflix and Legendary Television, and we are working with talented teams on crossovers for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint and War of the Visions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. Not only that, but we are excited to announce a Tomb Raider cookbook is coming from Inside Editions. Not Inside Edition, the nightly entertainment news program, Insight Editions, as in insightful. Okay, this will allow fans to bring recipes from Lara Croft's globetrotting adventures into their own homes, but don't worry, unlike Lara, we don't expect you to forage and hunt for the ingredients yourself. Yet to experience the 3 most recent Tomb Raider games, or just want a reason to revisit them, we also announced a new digital bundle, the Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy. This new collection contains 3 full games, including all their DLC. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-Year Celebration, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Over the course of these remarkable adventures, you'll follow Lara as she grows from a young, inexperienced survivor to a capable, confident Tomb Raider. Finally, some Fortnite news. You may have seen the inimitable. Okay, we chose that word. Miss Croft arrive in the game, but that is not the end of the collaboration. Croft Manor is coming to Fortnite Creative as a playable adventure on March 23rd. Alliance Studios has been hard at work on the hub, and we cannot wait for you to play it next week. You can check out Fortnite Creative and Fortnite.com on March 23rd to learn more. Balan Wonderworld. We got one more look at the all-singing, all-dancing Balan Wonderworld ahead of its launch on March 26th. The colorful platformer sends 2 young heroes, Leo and Emma, into the whimsical and wacky world on a quest to help the denizens overcome the negativity that plagues them. The new trailer offered a tantalizing glimpse of the costumes and abilities that Leo and Emma will be able to utilize on their quest, and some of the dangerous bosses that stand in their way. You'll experience it all from next week when Balan Wonderworld releases on PS5, PS4, Series X, Xbox One, Switch, and Steam. Just Cause Mobile also got a bit of a spotlight. On top of that, Hitman Sniper Assassins looks like a solid Hitman take in the world of mobile. And then Space Invaders got a very interesting piece of news. It's arguably the most iconic series in all of gaming, and it's making a return. Square Enix Montreal and Taito are collaborating on an exciting new vision for the series on mobile. The new game takes Space Invaders into an innovative new direction through its proprietary AR technology and modern art style. So an augmented reality Square Enix X Montreal. You're getting an AR Space Invaders. Okay. Touhou Spell Bubble also got a spotlight. Bubble Bobble for Friends also got a spotlight. And Darius Cosmic Revelation is also coming. So there you have it. That is pretty much a recap of all the biggest announcements from Square Enix Presents, and a couple that I want to mention here. First and foremost, Life is Strange True Colors looks way better visually than the previous games. There are a lot of people that love the original Life is Strange, even more that love Life is Strange 2. But Life is Strange True Colors looks like a pretty fun time. I'm excited to check it out at some point in the future. And then, of course, the remastered collection. Glad to see that's happening, because although Life is Strange is relatively new in the grand scheme of things, you can definitely tell the technology has progressed and more funding has gone into the franchise since these games were developed. Forspoken is a big one because Project Athia is something that a lot of people have been talking about over the course of the past few months, and now we know its official title is Forspoken. I'm excited to see more about this game, perhaps during the summer, with PS5 and PC coming as the console exclusive and platform exclusive locations for Forspoken. This is a major release. This is something that will sell PlayStation 5 consoles, because if you check out the gameplay, and I'm not sure if I can actually show this, I assume that I can, it looks visually very impressive. It's something that I think is going to be one that I dive into on PC at the very least if I don't end up buying a PlayStation 5 by that point. But it's interesting because it basically thrust this very average looking person, somebody you would just see in a Target, into this world of dragons and mythical beasts, and then she just begins to have these powers. And so that's something that I think is very exciting. But if you check out this last chunk of the trailer, the navigation is so incredibly fluid and fast. I also want to mention the lighting looks gorgeous. So I'm excited to learn more about this. I do want to check it out, but it looks like it's just going to be a very fast-paced, magic-induced, very fun time. And I do want to see more, specifically extended gameplay. Give me some breakdowns of how all of this functions. In the world of Marvel's Avengers, I feel confident in its long-term future. In the short term, I still think there is going to be a pretty solid content drought. I'm going to be checking out Marvel's Avengers at some point, but if I had to guess, it's going to be whenever the War on Wakanda, or War for Wakanda, I believe it's War for Wakanda, drops, because that seems to be something that, number one, is interesting to me, but number two, marks a point in the future when a lot of content is going to be available. Currently, having Clint Barton's Hawkeye as the main draw for me to go into the game, on top of some new content that's kind of getting deeper into the Marvel lore than I'm currently comfortable with and familiar with, doesn't really incentivize me to check out the game. But adding Black Panther, sure, I'll absolutely dive in with that, especially when a lot more content is available at that point. They're doing a good job of improving. There is now a content calendar. You can check out the entire content calendar on the official Square Enix blog for the Marvel's Avengers website. But I do want to say, I have hope for this game. I have faith in this game, but they have to step very carefully, because just one misstep can leave this game out in the cold, and that is something that is still a full possibility. And again, as they assess the situation and as players begin to shift and whether they come or they go, Marvel's Avengers will eventually have to make a decision on, is this game worth continuing development if no one is currently actively playing it? That's the big question. I still think that it has some life left in it, but they have to make the right choices in the weeks and months ahead. Outriders got a very big spotlight at the very beginning of the show. Of course, that's kind of natural since it's their most, I would say their biggest close release. This is something that is a big release for the spring season, and it's something that has the potential to tap into a very large audience, especially with that edition on Game Pass. And so they have a pretty in-depth breakdown of some of the customization options, the way the game functions. Cool to see, and of course, since it's on Game Pass, I'm absolutely going to be diving in and checking it out on day one. The Tomb Raider games are fantastic, you should play them, and I'm glad to see them all coming together with the definitive Survivor trilogy. It is worth mentioning, as I said on yesterday's show, this is $20 for the next 2 weeks. So you can pick up 3 games and all their DLC for $20. After that, the bundle will be $50, so go ahead and get that deal when you can. Not sure why we need a cookbook. I'm on the fence about the anime series, but okay. I'm not really a big TV show / anime guy, but these endgame crossovers I'm interested in. Let's see what that has to offer. The rest of the show for me personally was just kind of a hit or a miss. I'm interested in the Space Invaders game because I love Space Invaders, but the mobile games look like they're getting better than ever before. Not that I'll actually dive in and check them out, but just cause Mobile and Hitman Sniper Assassins are 2 new experiences coming your way. So that's pretty much a recap of everything shown during the Square Enix Presents presentation. But we got some big news from SIE because PlayStation has bought EVO, the fighting game championship. In 1996, a fledgling fighting game tournament sparked a cultural phenomenon that drew an international following through its inspiring exhibitions of skill and fun. In the decades since, countless legendary battles in that storied tournament, now known as the Evolution Championship Series, have been waged in the virtual arenas of timeless games, many on PlayStation consoles. Today, we are thrilled to announce the next chapter in the story of PlayStation and EVO, the world's largest and longest-running fighting game tournament. Sony Interactive Entertainment has teamed up with RTS to acquire EVO through a joint venture partnership. With experience spanning esports event management, brand and developer consulting, and gaming talent management, RTS is a new venture led by CEO Stuart Saul and backed by investors including global entertainment, sports, and content company Endeavor. EVO co-founders Tom and Tony Cannon will remain closely involved in an advisory role to ensure EVO continues to service the fighting game community and support its vibrant growth. This partnership marks a new collaboration, bringing together the resources and expertise that will allow us to elevate the global reach, scale, and fan engagement surrounding this iconic gaming tournament. This is a pretty big deal, and I'll tell you why. EVO is one of the peak events of the year, and it's massive in the fighting game space. But the move that Sony is making certainly does make sense in my opinion. A lot of people were surprised, but Sony is clearly focused on fighting games in a very small and specific way. They hold regular Mortal Kombat championships, and if you haven't noticed what this is, every Saturday or so, just randomly, PlayStation will be streaming a Mortal Kombat championship. And that's one of the only things they really stream. And so it's clear that within the organization, there is some kind of team and there was some kind of meeting that sees the value in having these fighting championships, and they have these fighting game tournaments. And I think the community around the fighting game tournaments is very, very strong. And of course, the EVO community is incredibly powerful. And I think it's a very wise purchase because in the long run, as you are building out what you do in the gaming space, it's important to diversify the kind of content you're making and to diversify the investments that you're making, so that you can spread that love throughout the industry and grow new opportunities, new investments, new ways to experience gaming. Now, it's important to note for those that might be concerned about the future of EVO, this year's championship is still taking place August 6th through the 8th and 13th through the 15th. Entry will be free, and players in North America, Europe, Asia, and Latin America will be able to compete in Bandai Namco Entertainment's Tekken 7, Capcom Street Fighter V Championship Edition, Warner Bros. Games Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, and Arc Systems Works Guilty Gear Strive in an open format. They do want to make it very clear. At its core, quote, EVO will remain what it has always been, an open format competition that gives fighting game fans from different countries a chance to connect, test their skills, and forge new partnerships. It was made very clear on Twitter, this does not mean that Smash is leaving EVO. Nothing is fundamentally changing about the games that are being played yet. That has not been explicitly said by SIE, but according to one of the organizers, this event is staying exactly the way that it has been, and now it just is a part of Sony Interactive Entertainment. So we'll see if that continues to hold up over time. They might make changes to make it more PlayStation-centric, but it seems like this is just one of those parent company situations. This is nothing more than just an acquisition. I would not worry about it too much yet, but very interesting to see the move being made. But Embracer Group is also gearing up for some acquisitions, raising over $890 million. Actively raising, I should say. This has not been accomplished yet, but the parent of THQ Nordic and Koch Media has issued 36 million new Class B shares at $24.71 per share to raise an estimated $893.9 million. Which will all be used to, quote, further strengthen the company's financial position and, of course, continue its ongoing acquisition strategy. Embracer Group is an unstoppable, hungry hippo of company acquisition moves. It is wild to see what Embracer Group has done over the past few years, and I just wanted to point out that it is not stopping anytime soon, and quite frankly, it's a good strategy, because they are the kings of what I like to consider AA games. They create these mid-tier games that are not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but they are not AAA either. They're somewhere in between, and there's a fantastic market for that. I love these AA games that might not necessarily be something that warrants a $60 purchase, but it's something I'm still going to play because it's fun. That's really where they thrive. And so Embracer Group is gearing up for more moves in the months and years ahead, and for good reason, because it is paying off in a big way, and it's not shocking to see them able to raise over $890 million. The good news is, indie games are getting a spotlight from Xbox, with ID at Xbox and Twitch teaming up for the first indie showcase on March 26th. Glenn Gregory, Senior Marketing Manager at ID at Xbox, takes to the Xbox Wire to write, quote, we at ID at Xbox, the independent and digital games publishing program for Xbox, love indie games. It's in our blood. Technically, it's also kind of in our name. It turns out our friends at Twitch also love indie games, and when we found that out, we thought we got a collab. So I'm thrilled to announce the first /Twitch gaming showcase, ID at Xbox. Here's the who, what, when, where, and why. ID at Xbox, Twitch Gaming, and more than 100 games from independent developers based all over the world are going to be featured in tons of independent titles, including brand new game announcements from developers and publishers such as Drinkbox Studios, Curve Digital, Devolver Digital, Dear Villagers, and others. During the showcase, we'll debut new trailers and gameplay for more than 25 games, including Second Extinction, The Ascent, The Wild at Heart, Void Train, XO1, and an update on Stalker 2, and many more. We'll also be making announcements about independent titles coming to Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. Community favorite Twitch streamers will also host the showcase and conduct interviews with developers, take fan questions, and maybe even drop some game codes. Set your reminders for Friday, March 26th at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and note that this occurs in the window where the time has changed in the US but not in other parts of the world, so plan accordingly. For example, the showcase will be at 1600 in the UK and not 1700 as it usually would be. You can watch the Twitch Gaming Showcase, ID at Xbox, exclusively on Twitch at twitch.tv/twitchgaming or twitch.tv/Xbox. Because we, Xbox and Twitch Gaming, love indie games and supporting independent developers. We hope you can join us for all of the new debuts and announcements on Friday, March 26th at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time at the first Twitch Gaming Showcase, ID at Xbox. Cool stuff here. Personally, out of the games mentioned specifically, Stalker 2 and Second Extinction are the two that I really want to learn more about. But you love to see this spotlight on indie games. It's one of the best ways to really bring some love into the indie space. I love seeing this kind of content. I love seeing these kind of productions because where you have big AAA games with huge promotional budgets, and they're able to do basically whatever they want to promote their game. A lot of these indie games may not have that kind of funding. You see the entire list of attendees here, where you have Devolver, Raw Fury, presented by Humble. That's very cool. Drinkbox Studios, a lot of big names here. And so this is going to be undoubtedly a pretty big day for those that are fans of indies. So tune in again March 26th, 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And I am looking forward to learning more about that when the time comes. Finally, to round out today's show, you're getting a bit of a price hike. GeForce Now has doubled its price for newcomers to $10 per month. Effectively, this goes from $5 to $10 a month, and for those that don't know what GeForce Now is, unlike Google Stadia or Microsoft's Project xCloud, you are able to stream any game that you own across Epic Games, Steam, and other launchers on your PC. This is a very big deal because instead of having to rebuy the games on the platform of choice, whether it be Google Stadia or through the Xbox Marketplace or subscribe to Game Pass in the case of Microsoft, you are able to do anything. You can just stream your games. It's effectively a remote PC. That's very powerful. But they also run into a lot of issues when it comes to games that don't want to be included on this service, and you see a slew of games getting removed towards the middle of last year, and they have come and gone ever since. But it is one of the more powerful and more reliable of these streaming services, and so it seems that Nvidia has realized this, and they're bumping GeForce Now up to $10 per month. It is worth mentioning those that are already subscribers are grandfathered in to $5 per month for life. Pretty good deal there. But I believe there is a tiered style membership as well, that if you're interested, you can learn more by heading over to the GeForce Now website. But just a general PSA, if you were considering it, it is now $10 a month, which is still cheaper than a Netflix subscription, so you can't really have too much room to complain there, but still an inconvenience. $10 is $10. I understand that just as well as you do. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know everything you thought about today's show. How did you like Square Enix Presents? What do you think about SIE buying Evo? How do you feel about the Embracer Group continuing acquisitions? Would love to hear your thoughts. But until Monday, you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.